Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into the final waiver wire targets and streamable defenses video that I'm going to be doing for the season. I cannot believe how fast this season has gone. We're at the Fantasy Football Championship week. I hope everybody has made it. If you guys have been following along with me throughout the season, I told you guys I was going to update you throughout the whole playoff process. The three leagues that I was remaining in entering last week, I went 1 for 1, 2 for 2. Now I entered last night down 23 point something points. I had Alvin Kamara and Jalen Waddle. Thank you to the Waddle. I made the comeback completed last night. I am going 3 out of 5 leagues that I played this year. I will be in the championship game. And I'm pretty excited about the one I just told you guys about because it's one of my main leagues. I've been with a group of friends for like over 10 years. In that league, it's very competitive between us. And I won the inaugural championship in that league. The first year we did it, and then I have not won it since then, which was back in 2012 when I had Tim Tebow as my fantasy quarterback. I think that was the year because my name was Get Tebow, so I just assumed that was the year when I won it. I've came second place twice. I came third place. I always make the playoffs, but I just have been that championship has been elusive from me, and I'm ready to win it back since I was the first one that won it the first year we got that league together. But yeah, then I also got the other 2 championships, trying to win some money this upcoming Sunday. So I'm hoping I can help you guys out. And yeah, this will be the top waiver wire targets, last one of the week. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. I'll start with the waiver wire targets for you guys tonight. The one thing I will say, I hope you guys are not having to pick up any waiver wire targets. I hope that you guys are you're healthy and all your guys that got you there are there because as I said at my advice at the beginning of the playoffs, my advice runs all the way through the championship game. Play the guys that got you here. Play the guys that gave you more good weeks more times than not. Because sometimes this week does honestly come down to luck and who had the right guys at the right time. But with that being said, play the guys that got you there. I mean, obviously, if you're dealing with either an injury or a COVID situation, which we're going to see some drastic changes in the coming days, I'll talk about that here shortly. But yeah, unless you're for those type of reasons, like where you got to go pick up somebody off the waivers and play them this week. Obviously, play the guys that got you there. But with that being said, why don't I go ahead and dive into this? My top quarterback out of the week is a guy that hasn't played football since I want to say back in September. So obviously, if you're going to be turning to this guy, it's a big roll of the dice, but I think it would be worth it. It's Trey Lance. The rookie quarterback from San Francisco. He's available in 88% of the leagues. Now, for those that are unaware, Jimmy G has hurt his UCL thumb or whatever. I'm not a doctor, but it has put his status in doubt and high jeopardy for the upcoming Sunday. So that means Trey Lance would be starting against the Houston Texans. Now, listen, I understand the Houston Texans got that upset against the Chargers, so I hope you guys did fade me on my short preview like I talked about in that my weekly preview video that I did last week. But anyways, to stay on track, it's the Texans defense. You can run against them, you can throw it against them. And Trey Lance, what Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance showed us earlier when he started against the Cardinals back in September is that they have designed runs. They're gonna use his mobility. So he would offer you a floor this week. And then he did. Kyle Shanahan said to the media when he was talking about the Jimmy G injury that Trey Lance has put together the last month his strongest performance since he's joined the roster. So sounds like he's kind of getting some things underneath his belt, getting the understanding of Kyle Shanahan's scheme. Now, listen, obviously, if you got a quarterback play, if you got you there, but if you've had maybe an injury pop up or a COVID issue pop up, and you're looking for a quarterback, definitely turn to that. Now, I was going to talk about that at this section too because when I was getting the script ready, I was also thinking say you have a quarterback and it gets to Saturday and he tests positive and he's out. I think Trey Lance could be a good pivot point for people. Now, it literally just came out right before I hopped on to record this video that the NFL is adapting their COVID protocol rules to what the CDC has recommended. So it does not matter if the player is vaccinated or if he is unvaccinated. If he is asymptomatic, he can test out of the protocols after the 5-day mark. They no longer are automatically out 10 days if they're unvaccinated. So, for example, Carson Wentz tested positive today, or he didn't. Well, he was placed on the COVID reserve list. Nobody really confirmed if it was a positive test or close contact. If it's close contact, at that time they were able to return in 5 days. But if he's unvaccinated, so if he did test positive, he was going to be out this Sunday against the Raiders. So, but yeah, now he has an opportunity to return to earn underneath these new rules. As long as from my understanding, I just literally hopped on after that news broke, so I'm not sure if he has to have a couple negative tests, but I know he can return after 5 days now, as long as he adheres to all the protocols to clear. So yeah, with that being said, if anything happens to a quarterback of yours this week and you're like scrambling on the waivers, don't be afraid to maybe roll the dice on a potential good matchup with Trey Lance. Moving on to my running back out of the week in that same matchup that you can maybe use him this week is going to be Rex Burkhead, the Texans running back. I can't believe that you might be able to rely on a Texans running back to help win you a championship at this point of the season, but this has been a weird season. With that being said, he's available in 86% of the leagues. Now, this past week against the Chargers, he had the 22 rushes, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 receptions for 0 yards, but if you're in a PPR league, at least you got a couple points from that on those 2 targets. Now, this week he's got a little bit of a tougher matchup going against the San Francisco 49ers, who have a decent rush defense. But with that being said, I mean, look, he had 24 touches. You can't ignore the volume. I do think he's like a decent flex play this week. I would, just like anybody, I would be hesitant to play a Texans player in my lineup during the championship week. But man, look what they just did to the Chargers. They're being competitive. He's running hard. Rex Burkhead has been a fantasy relevant player in the past. So if you're looking for running back help this week, you're looking for maybe a decent flex play, Rex Burkhead might be your guy. Moving on to the wide receiver ad of the week, I'm going with Allen Lazard. He's available in 76% of the leagues. Now, this will be interesting because Marquez Valdes-Scantling is currently on the COVID list. Obviously, he'll be more likely to come back off of it because of the new rules. But we also have seen some players slowly get themselves conditioned coming off that list. So we don't know where he'll be health-wise for MVS. So I think Allen Lazard is a good ad if you're looking for some wide receiver help this week. Now, this past weekend, he only had the 2 receptions for 45 yards. Obviously, the touchdown's huge. He had 5 targets. I could see that going up in this next game. And then he also had that 1 rush attempt for 13 yards. Now, this Sunday night, they're going against the Vikings. After OBJ got a touchdown. Yeah, Matthew Stafford threw for 3 touchdowns in that game. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at, I believe, without looking at it right now, the Vikings are probably still the team that's given up the most points per game to wide receivers. So I could see this being a good outing for Allen Lazard. And if you're looking for maybe a wide receiver 3 that offers you some upside with a good matchup, he definitely would be the guy I would look at, especially if MVS is not able to play on Sunday. Now, moving on to my tight end ad of the week, I am going to go with Gerald Everett, who's been a nice streaming option for people throughout the year. He's available in 58% of the leagues. This past weekend, he had the 4 receptions for 68 yards, a touchdown, and 5 targets. Got the Lions this week, so one of the worst defenses in the league. So he has an opportunity to put up some points against the Lions. So if you're looking for a streaming option at the tight end position, I would definitely consider Gerald Everett as an option on the waivers this week. Go ahead and put in a bow on this episode. This segment. It's my flex ad of the week. I'm going to go with the KJ Osborne, the Vikings' 3rd wide receiver. He's available in 66% of the leagues. Now, listen, we don't know where Adam Thielen is with his injury because he did return this past week, and obviously when Thielen's in there, that takes away Osborne's value. But if Thielen can't go this week, because Thielen was in and out of that game, and even if he does play, he might be in and out of this game too. Obviously, he's probably going to be less than 100%. And if he does get ruled out, that makes Osborne even a greater option to possibly play in your lineup this week. He's available in 5 receptions. This past week, he had the 5 receptions for 68 yards, touchdown on 7 targets. Going against the Packers, I really seen this being like a back and forth shootout type of matchup, so I could see the Vikings throwing a lot, which should help increase Osborne's target load and potentially give him a good outing for you guys. So if you're looking for some help at the wide receiver position, Osborne's another name I would consider. And I will say this too, right before I wrap this up, guys, and with the waiver wire targets too, if you got somebody on your bench that stinks, that won't get picked up, or like they get ruled out at any point, just go pick up the top players on the waiver wire, because then that can hold the guy you're going against, their options being limited in case he ends up missing players come Sunday. So again, my top quarterback ad of the week, Trey Lance. My top running back ad of the week, Rex Burkhead. My wide receiver ad of the week is Allen Lazard. My tight end ad of the week is Gerald Everett. And my flex ad of the week is going to be KJ Osborne. Now I'm going to go ahead and move into my top streamable defenses. Last one of the year, so let's see if I can knock out and hit a home run on this for you guys. Again, these are per Yahoo. They have to have at least 50% availability. And my top streamable defense, I'm going to go with the Seahawks against the Lions. Seahawks are available in 50% of the leagues. Right now, they are going against the Lions. So more likely, Jared Goff will be back in the lineup. But you guys know where I go with this line. I've been saying it all year with Detroit. Jared Goff is good for at least a fumble or at least an interception on any given game. That's when you just got to hope they can at least get that return for a touchdown for you. You got Quandre Diggs, a former Lion. You know he's going to want to get his hand on the ball. That defensive front with Carlos Dunlap, they have been really active over the last couple weeks in getting those sacks. So I see some sack potential. I see some turnover potential. So if you're looking for a streamable defense, Seattle will be on the top of my list. My number 2 streamable defense of the week, I'm going to go with the Titans against the Dolphins. The Titans are available in 59% of the leagues right now. And the reason why I'm going with this one, obviously the Dolphins, I like what Tua has been doing as of late. I do definitely like Jalen Waddle. Obviously, he got me to a fantasy championship with his performance last night. But with that being said, the offensive line really stinks, to be quite honest, with Miami. And the Titans have arguably probably a top 5, and if not like a top 3 defensive front for this season. So I see that being a dominant group effort where they're going to pretty much stuff the run. They're going to be able to harass Tua. They're going to get pressure on Tua. And we saw kind of what happened last night against the Saints. They kind of did the same thing. Tua threw that interception. So I just see the sacks more than anything. And then when Tua does kind of like have to make a forced decision, that's when those turnovers from Tua can happen. So there is that turnover potential as well. So if you're looking for an option, Tennessee is a decent a decent pickup in my opinion. My number 3 streamable defense, I am going to go with the Browns against the Steelers. The Browns are available in 60% of the leagues, and it's just because that Steelers offense has been outright awful. Big Ben is not the same anymore, so you do got those lofty air balls that he be throwing up that can result in turnovers. And you got that offensive line in Pittsburgh has had their struggles throughout the year. So as long as Myles Garrett is close to being healthy, I could see him getting some sacks and getting those pressure on Big Ben to help force those turnovers. So Cleveland's defense is a streamable option for me this week. My number 4 streamable defense, I'm going to go with the Bears against the Giants. The Bears are available in 83% of the leagues. It feels like that Bears defense has kind of been they've been playing good they've been playing solid without Khalil Mack ever since he's gotten hurt. And this past couple weeks, their secondary's playing a little bit better. And they're going against this Giants offense who's been a complete disaster this season. It's going to be, Jacob Brown got benched and he was stinking anyway. So it's probably going to be Mike Glennon. So Mike Glennon doesn't scare a defense. So I could see the turnovers happening. I could definitely see some sacks happening with Robert Quinn up front. They should be getting Akeem Hicks back in that lineup. So I think the Bears could be a sneaky streamable defense, especially if you're in those 12 to 16 team leagues. And then speaking of those type of leagues, my last one of the week, one that you could maybe consider, I'm going to go with the Panthers against the Saints. The Panthers are available in 78% of the leagues. Listen, I understand the Panthers got a lot of drama surrounding the coaching situation right now, and that team has completely stunk over the last couple months after surprisingly beat the Cardinals, but Cardinals got their own issues, right? Anyways, stay on track here. The way I'm viewing this is, even if more likely we'll probably see Taysom Hill, if not Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian off the COVID list by Sunday. But if not, obviously if Ian Book's playing, that makes the Panthers defense even more streamable. But even if it's Taysom Hill, or Trevor Siemian, I still think they're a good streaming option. That Saints offense has not been that great over the past couple of months. I mean, yeah, they beat the Bucks a couple weeks ago, but that was because their defense shut out Tampa Bay. The offense only were able to help put up 9 points in that game, so they haven't really been putting up a lot of points. Their tackle situation, they've been playing a lot of backups, right? Brian Burns is really good off the edge. Yetur Gross-Matos can get after the quarterback. They still got Jeremy Chin on that defense. So they got playmakers on that defense where they could possibly wreak havoc. And the Panthers did beat the Saints earlier this season. So it's not like it's like something that's like a really big a roll of the dice. There is some reasoning that I think you could stream the Panthers defense against the Saints this week, especially if Ian Book is going to be the starter if for any reason. So again, my top streamable defenses, my last one of the year. Seahawks against the Lions, Titans against the Dolphins, Browns against the Steelers, Bears against the Giants, and Panthers against the Saints. So yeah, that's my video for you guys, and I do appreciate anybody that's been liking these videos. I do know that these usually do the best numbers for my channel throughout the season. So I do appreciate anybody that's been taking this advice. I hope I've gotten you to that championship game. Now my next video I will be doing is the starts and sits. Now, you guys know I typically do that on Wednesday. That was my plan. I do have a good friend coming up here. He's supposed to be arriving at some point tonight. And so I do have to work tomorrow. I might be hungover when I work. I'm supposed to get with those guys. And then now with this whole COVID situation, it makes an opportunity for some players that weren't supposed to be available. So I kind of want to see how this plays out. Now, I may do my start-sit video tomorrow at some point, but there's no Thursday night game, so I feel like there's no rush to do my start-sit video. So if you guys don't see it on my channel tomorrow, or if I don't post it on any of my social media platforms, just know that I'm planning on doing it on Thursday, okay? So it may come out tomorrow, but I might just push it back and do it on Thursday for you guys. So I have as much information as I can have for that episode, especially with it being the championship week. So other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, as always, please hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. You might be watching fantasy stuff here, but I'm going to keep this thing rolling. I'm still going to finish off the season with my weekly previews. I will be doing playoff game previews, and then I'll obviously down the line, I'm going to be doing my draft content and possibly some off-season content here and there as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe button to keep up with the latest, and also so you know when my top starts and sits video comes out this week. I'm going to get out of here, get this edited and uploaded for you guys, so I will speak to you guys whenever I record that start-sit video for this week. Talk to you guys later.